It is 32 days till the man burns, and today we're talking about asthma at Burning Man. Because if you have asthma, there are probably some extra considerations you're going to want to make before you go to Burning Man and whether you're deciding whether you should go or not. So Burning Man itself does advise that if you have had complications from your asthma, if you've had to go to hospital, if you've had to have intubation, anything like that, then you should definitely seek medical advice before you go. But really, any of you that have asthma that are just kind of feeling a bit nervous about whether or not you should go, go and chat to your doctor about it first and see what they have to say. They might be able to either just completely put your mind at rest, or they might have some great tips on, things that you could do or bring along with you to make sure that you don't have any problems. So first up, you need to be aware of what your triggers are. And I know for a lot of people, dust is a trigger. But many asthmatics say that the dust at Burning Man is nothing like house dust and that they don't experience any problems from it. But you're all different. Just because some people are saying that, dust is usually a trigger for them and they find that it's not at Burning Man, it doesn't necessarily mean that the same is going to be true for you. So if dust is usually a trigger for you, then you will want to take some extra precautions when it comes to dust, just to be on the safe side, just in case you aren't part of the lucky batch who find that the dust doesn't affect them. Cigarette smoke tends to be another big trigger, so if you are camping with people that are smokers, you might want to figure out how that's going to work. Make your campmates aware of it, that cigarette smoke is a problem for you. And either try and have like a ban on your camp, like no one smokes in camp. And if you're not going to go for a complete ban, then just having your campmates aware of it and letting them know, please don't smoke around me or smoke around my things, because the smoke is going to affect me really badly and it could trigger an asthma attack. Then your campmates are going to be aware of that. They're going to know to be a bit careful when they're smoking in camp and to try and keep away from you if they are smoking. And obviously try and avoid going to places where those triggers are likely to occur. If smoking is a trigger for you, you probably don't want to go to a theme camp where everybody is smoking, or like a hookah lounge or something where the focus of the camp is smoking, because chances are it's going to trigger you. It is a good idea to make sure that you know where the ESD camps are, the emergency services and medical, so that if you do need any medical help, you already know where you need to go to get that. And again, if it is a concern for you, you are worried that you're going to need medical help, it might be a good idea to set up your camp so that you are near to one of the medical camps. That way, at least when you're in camp, you know that you only have a short trip if you do need medical attention. It's also a good idea to wear like a medical alert bracelet or something, so that if you're not able to communicate what the problem is, then medical staff are going to be able to just see what it is for themselves and they'll know how to help you. Obviously, you will want to bring along any medication that you need to take to help keep your asthma under control. And it's a really good idea to bring extras. It's so easy to lose or misplace things in your camp. Stress can be a trigger for asthma as well. So if you need your inhaler and you can't find it and you're kind of crazily rooting through your camp, then the stress of that could cause you to have a panic attack at a time when you don't have like the medication you need to be able to help you. So keep medication on you when you are out and about adventuring, and keep a backup somewhere where it's going to be very easy to find. Maybe keep it in your vehicle or keep it in a compartment in your bag in your tent, so that you know that your backup is always there. You could bring along a peak flow meter. They are a great way to just measure how your lungs are coping with the environment, and using something like that is a great way to kind of help prevent things from escalating. So you might be able to use it and then see that, okay, I need to really rest today and take it easy, or I need to start wearing my dust mask more often, because you'll be able to see the problems before they occur. Bringing along a decent dust mask is a must. And bringing along some backup comfies is also a must. The best dust masks at Burning Man are the dust masks that you're going to wear. So you don't want to only bring along, the highest rated dust mask that you can find and then find that it's so uncomfortable that you are just not wearing it when you really should be. So I do advise bringing along the best dust masks that you can find. The ones that you're looking for are, if you're in America, P100 or N95. And if you're in Europe, something with P3 filters or FFP3s. But, also bring along some options so that that's not the only thing you're stuck with, just in case it is unbearable for you to wear it. Also, if you are finding the dust very irritating, then you might want to sleep in something to kind of protect you from the dust a bit. And you may not want to sleep in a full-on dust mask. You may want to just kind of tie something around your face, like a bandana or a keffiyeh or something, to just kind of protect you a bit while you're sleeping. Make sure you bring along enough spare filters and spare masks so that you can change them out as frequently as you need to as well, and store those in a Ziploc bag. You don't want them just sitting around your camp getting full of dust so that when you change your filter or your mask, you're just like breathing in all of that dust it's collected. Some asthmatics find that caffeine is a great way to help relieve symptoms of asthma. So you might want to drag along, Coca-Cola or coffee or however it is you like to get your caffeine fix. You might want to bring some of that along with you just so that you can kind of help relieve some of the symptoms if you are feeling like you're suffering a bit. Likewise, any other kind of like home remedies that seem to work for you, bring them along with you. Anything you can do to keep yourself feeling good is going to help. If dust is an issue for you, you're probably going to want to keep your sleeping area as dust-free as you possibly can. Even if the dust doesn't seem to trigger your asthma, there are other problems that the dust can create, especially if you're breathing it in, like player lung. So try and keep your sleeping area as dust-free as you can. I have another video on like minimizing dust in your tent area, which I will link in the description box below. But I mean, basically, if you're going to sleep every night just in a puddle of dust, probably not going to be doing great things for you, whether you have asthma or not. And like I say, if you are waking up and feeling like you have been breathing in a load of dust and it's, feeling not great, then you might want to start sleeping in a dust mask or a kefir or something just to kind of reduce how much dust you're breathing in while you're asleep. You want to take extra good care of yourself while you're there because, feeling run down, it can be another trigger. So make sure you're getting enough sleep, make sure you are staying hydrated, make sure you are eating properly, make sure you are replacing your electrolytes. Pay attention to your body, pay attention to how you're feeling. If you need to just take a day to rest or you need to go and have a nap, do those things, look after yourself. There is plenty going on at Burning Man all of the time. You missing like one day just so you can rest, if it avoids you ending up having an asthma attack or ending up needing to leave, then you're going to have more fun while you're there. Some asthmatics like to bring along a dehumidifier that they can just pop on while they're sleeping. And, hopefully if you decide to bring one of those along, then you are going to be waking up feeling good and ready to take on the day. Likewise, swamp coolers or air conditioning, those can be a good choice if you're asthmatic as well, because sometimes the heat can be a bit of a problem. It can act as a trigger. And swamp coolers are amazing at cooling things down. They're really not that complicated to make. There are videos and blog posts and stuff that explain like how you can make them. And it's a great way to give yourself a cooler environment to be in if you are finding the heat a bit of a struggle. You might want to bring along some kind of like nasal sprays or nose washes or things like that just so you can kind of clean out your nose. It is amazing how much dust can just collect in your nose in the space of like a few hours. And having your nose feeling all blocked up and it being full of dust, it's not a nice feeling anyway, but when you're asthmatic, it can cause more problems. So bring something along just so you can give your nose a good clean out whenever you need to, so you're going to be able to breathe a bit easier through it. Some asthmatics like to bring along like a handheld nebulizer just in case they feel like they need them. Because, even if you are coping really well with the dust doesn't seem to trigger you. You could just have an unlucky moment where you end up inhaling someone's cigarette smoke and next thing you know, you're having problems, and having a nebulizer might be enough to just kind of knock it on the head and have you feeling better much faster. Obviously, if something like that does happen and you don't have a nebulizer and none of your medication is going to work for you, go and get medical help or do whatever it is that you need to do that's going to get you feeling okay again. If you are in a place where people are smoking, or maybe you're sitting next to someone and then suddenly they light up a cigarette, then it can be frustrating, especially if you are enjoying whatever it is you're doing, to then be like, well, now I have to leave because I don't want my asthma to be triggered by the cigarette smoke. So you could ask that person to stop smoking if it's potentially going to trigger you, but realistically you can't expect kind of everywhere you go in Burning Man for people to be like, okay, we won't smoke because this person is here right now. Some people are not going to mind, if you just explain like I have asthma and smoke really makes it flare up. Do you mind not smoking next to me? Some people are not going to have a problem with it, but don't expect that to be the case everywhere you go, especially if you're going to an environment where many people are smoking. Unfortunately, in some cases, you're probably just going to have to leave that place because otherwise you're going to have problems with your asthma. Make sure that you have an escape plan. Even though many asthmatics say that they do just fine at Burning Man, it's still worth making sure that if you do need to leave, that you can leave. So when you're choosing your camp location and setting up, make sure that you position everything in a way that you are able to actually get out. You don't want to, need to leave and be like, well, we can't get out because of the neighbors and we need one of the neighbors to move all of their stuff so that we can get out. You want to be in a position where you can do a swift exit if you need to. If you do think that you might need to leave in a rush, then it might be worth having like an emergency bag pack that just has, you know, essentials that you would need, like, you know, some money for a hotel, some IDs, some clean clothes, you know, whatever you're gonna need when you leave. Make sure that you already have that packed up in an emergency bag so you can just grab it and go. And then, you know, the rest of your camp can deal with all the rest of your stuff. They can bring it to you when they're going. If you are leaving early, then it's worth grabbing a re-entry pass on your way out, just in case, you know, maybe you'll head off and you'll go and stay in a hotel for a night, and then you'll be like, actually, you know what, I really feel much better and I want to go back. You know, you might as well prepare for that just in case, so that you are able to get back in if you want to. Obviously, let your campmates know as well that that is a possibility, that there is this chance that you may just kind of be like, I have to leave now, and leave. It is worth figuring out your escape plan beforehand as well, because, you know, maybe you will need someone to drive you back to Reno, so, you know, who's going to be your designated driver, and what's going to happen with your stuff, who is responsible for bringing that back with them. With the medical help, you know, there's only so much medical help that can be offered on site at Burning Man. But, you know, they are happy to help. Don't be afraid to go down and get medical help if you need it. And, you know, if you are not sure if you need to leave or not to go and get, like, more medical help, then they're going to be able to advise you on that, on what they are actually capable of dealing with while you're there, and, you know, whether or not you do need to go and get, like, more medical help. And, you know, if you are concerned, you could always head to medical, like, when you arrive, and just have a chat with them, let them know the situation, see if there's anything they advise, any tips they have for you. So you can just kind of try and make sure that you are doing as much as you can to make sure that your asthma doesn't flare up and that you can just have an amazing time. So I hope this is helpful, guys. I hope that any of you that do have asthma are, you know, in that lucky group of people that say that, you know, Burning Man just really doesn't affect my asthma and I'm fine out there. And if any of the rest of you have any tips or advice or tricks for people with asthma, let us know in the comments below. And if you see me at Burning Man this year, feel free to come and say hi to me. Bye, guys.